Namaste everyone. Good evening to all of you and wishing all of you a very, very happy Dashara, happy Vijayadashmi. May Goddess Durga illuminate all of us with health, harmony and peace. So, as you all know that the 9 episode Katha series is already over, and today we are going to have a very special talk by Raghuramji. It's like a continuation of the Katha series where Raghuramji would wrap up with with beautiful insights about dharma, about the characters of Bhishma, Arjuna, Krishna Bhagwan, Rama Bhagwan, and everyone. So you could also post your questions also towards the end, so that we could Raghuramji could answer the questions how much ever possible. We could would work on the question answer session also. So let's sit comfortably wherever you are seated, your back upright, your spine straight, chin mudra on your fingers, that is the thumb and the index finger are together. Place it on top of your thighs. Keep your eyes gently closed. And just observe your chest, the rise and fall of your chest. Observe the breath from the tip of the nostrils now. Shift your awareness to your breath. Feel the breath. Observe the in-breath and the out-breath. The breath touching the walls of the nostrils as you inhale. And as you exhale, the warm air exiting from the nostrils. Continue this awareness for some time. Visualize a picture of Lord Rama, Bhagwan Rama or Bhagwan Krishna. Just visualize any picture of your choice. Any picture you have seen of Lord Rama or Lord Krishna. Just observe the features of the Lord, the beautiful smile. Keep observing and feel the calmness within you as you observe the radiance coming from this picture from the Bhagwan. Chant Om in your mind a few times. Just chant Om, Om like that for a few times. And keep gazing internally at this picture. Let's all chant Om loudly now for 3 times. Breathe in. Observe the silence after the Om. Feel the calmness within you. Join the palms in the heart center. Feel the connection of the palm, the fingers together. With absolute sense of surrender, let's chant the opening Shanti Prarthana. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May we all be beautifully nourished today. May we all have the receptiveness to listen, the Shravana, the Manana, the Nididhyasana, the openness to reflect upon and apply in our lives. Let there be peace everywhere within ourselves, within our family, within the universe. Peace, peace, peace. Gently blink open your eyes. Let's move on straight away to Raghuramji.
Namaste to you all. Nice way that we have completed the 7 days Katha Saptaha and culmination. Let's get into the characters and then try to understand the depth of it. And very important aspect is the way that how these two epics, they can be a guideline for us for our life, forever kind of a thing. There are so many aspects that are there in this. Not only that these two stories are there, but you look at the way that the wonderful idea that are embedded in these stories in the form of Bhagavad Gita, in the form of Vishnu Sahasranama, and also Aditya Hridayam. So like that, several things that are there. If you look into the original text, you can see there's so many jewels from these two particular stories. Another important aspect about these stories are we have two different types of literature. One is called as the Puranas and the other is Itihasa. Purana is a story around the gods and goddesses to convey the message, and they may be many times a imagination or the idea that is like a very deep ideas that are there embedded in that, whereas Itihasa is something which really happened, but then these characters who are involved in this are so extraordinary, so beautiful in their message given, that we want to bring them out of the historical and geographical details. Therefore, Rama was born in Ayodhya, Krishna was born in Mathura, but in spite of it, they belong to the whole country, not only the whole country, the whole world, because the message that they carried is like that which belongs to the mankind. So therefore, that these two characters, though they were living, they had extraordinary, wonderful message to give. So let us try to look into some of these stories of their life and also the message that they convey and what they really have this idea about. First of all, about Rama, today we take them as Bhagwan, but actually you look at the way that somebody who is born about 150 years ago, like Vivekananda, he did such an extraordinary, wonderful work. That means he was like any of us. But then the work that he has done is so monumental that we cannot categorize him as one of us, but we want to put him in a higher pedestal. That's what is the respect that we have for him. If you go further, another say 200, another 1,000 years, that you can see that somebody like Patanjali or somebody like Vedavyas, these are the people who are extraordinary. Similarly, when you go further into 5,000 years or 1,000 years ago, that was Shankaracharya. Imagine somebody walking around the whole country, spreading the message and making this culture to survive. He must be somebody like a god. So this is how basically these people that they have achieved that kind of thing, because their vision reaches people for thousands of years, not just 100 years, hundreds of years. One such personality is Krishna, who was born 5,117 years ago to be precise, and then the kind of message that has given even after 5,000 years ago, we understand that, we read that, we feel that it's as if he's telling to us directly today. The same thing happened with Rama. 6,700 years ago, there was a person by name Rama, and he was so extraordinary. Before that, also, there were so many Ramas. Like, for example, Parashurama is also one of the Ramas. So, like that, there were Rama was a name, but then this one particular Rama, Ayodhya Rama, he is somebody who has grown to that degree, that level, where he has become like for us a great, extraordinary, wonderful personality. That's why we call him as Bhagwan. We feel so comfortable in calling him as Bhagwan. But originally, when you look into the text of Valmiki Ramayana, the beginning of Rama's story starts with actually Narada comes to Valmiki ashram, and then after having Atidhya and all that, they were sitting and then discussing there. Valmiki asks Narada, you go around and talk about all these gods and goddesses and all that. I'm sick of that. Vaikuntha just happened, something like that. I want to hear something who is an ordinary human being like us, but then who is an extraordinary, wonderful qualities. Konvasmin samprate loke tasya gunaman kirtivan karmajnasya krutajnasya dharmajnasya krutajnasya. Like that, he asks a person about somebody who is dharmajna and krutajna. That means to say, is dharmatma. At the same time, he has done extraordinary, wonderful things. He is a common man. When he asks like that, then immediately he gives the story about Ayodhya Namadheyasya. There is one place called as Ramo Namasya. There is a person by name Rama. And then story goes on, giving an idea that we should take Rama as a common man. There is a reason behind it. You see, if you say that he is a god, and then God behaves some way, in one way or the other, then he is God, therefore he could do that. He is not like common man like us. So therefore that we cannot actually be guided by that person or his way of living. Whereas Rama was like an ordinary person, and like the way that a thorn pricks you, the same way thorn pricks Rama also. The way that Rama was sleeping on the ground from coming from palace, and then if somebody offers we do like that, we also have the same kind of problem which Rama faced, all those things. But in spite of it, the character of Rama is so extraordinary that he is a guide for us. Now there are two different kind of things that were there about him. One is called as the dharmajnasya. In fact, that is very important aspect of it. He is born to re-establish dharma, and that has been recounted. That idea of Rama is born to establish dharma was something which was given by Vishwamitra. In fact, in your story that you heard, that Vishwamitra comes to Dasharatha and asks Rama to be sent along with him so that he can go to take care of the protecting the yaga, yajna that Vishwamitra is doing. Initially, Dasharatha hesitates because Rama is so young. He is not even 16 years, and then you ask him to go. And all that, he was not prepared to send Rama. But Dasharatha, when he says like that, immediately Vasishtha says, okay, no. Rama is capable, he has enough training and all those things, but he can go. Because basically all the training that was necessary for Rama was given by Vasishtha's ashrama. And then finishing his schooling, he came home. But then the people say that these days we observe that Rama was in some kind of depression. And for that, Vasishtha gives him a teaching, and that's what is Yoga Vasishtha. And after that, Rama is prepared to go on his mission. And that is what, when he went with Vishwamitra, the mission started. And that mission started such a beautiful way with the shloka in Valmiki Ramayana. He slept in the night, and next morning, that when Vishwamitra wanted to wake up Rama, and the shloka that he does, he says to Rama, is such a wonderful shloka, and which has been bodily taken by this Venkateshwara Supravatam as a starting shloka very aptly, because Venkateshwara is supposed to give that kind of a idea that Rama has. Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravardhate Uttishta narasharthula kartavyam daivamanikam. Daivamanikam kartavyam. In order to do this extraordinary, wonderful Devakarya, that means to say, now onwards, whatever the Rama is going to do, that is what is called as Devakarya. Daivamanikam kartavyam kuru uttishta. And that's what you get up, Rama. That's what is the shloka, that's all. And from there you can see that he went to get married to Sita, and there also very beautifully Vishwamitra doesn't tell Rama that it is for the uh, Sita Swayamvara we are going. Very clearly he says that Janaka has a bow and arrow which is supposed to be from Shiva. It's a very extraordinary, wonderful kind of bow and arrow, and nobody can really lift, and they can aim that arrow, bow. And then Rama, we need to go for that Shiva Dhanasu. And basically, Rama is a Kshatriya. Therefore, when there is something like a challenge about Kshatriya comes, Rama says, okay. But what is that occasion for which that it is done? That Vishwamitra did not disclose, because that was not the purpose for Rama to take the decision about. So therefore, he goes there, and then what is supposed to be there is the Sita Swayambara. And Rama, at that point of time, he takes the permission of Vishwamitra, and he takes the bow and arrow and then immediately shoots that and aims at, and by the time that he aims, that bow broke down. And then he says that Sita, you have to marry because this is Swayambara. Rama immediately bows in front of Janaka and says that, sir, everything is wonderful, but this decision has to be taken by my parents. Yes, I broke the will, the bow, but that is fine. But the decision has to come from that. Send the information. We'll wait. And therefore, the information was sent to Rama, Dasharatha, and then he got the information that about the marriage. So that means Rama was such a great Dharmatma at every point of time, right from the journey that he started with. Before that also, when he is supposed to kill Tataki, that was a lady. So how can he kill a lady? Because he is a Kshatriya. But then he says to his guru, that is Vishwamitra, saying that, Vishwamitra, it is for you to, I have come here, my duty is to protect your yaga from any force that comes and disturbs that. It may be any human force or a woman force or anything like that. I am ready to work on that. Therefore, it is as a piece of duty, as a dharma, that he does that. And when he goes to Ayodhya, when he goes back to Ayodhya, and the things were going on very fine, suddenly one day this thought came up that he should be coronated, and that should be done the immediately next day. And therefore, all the preparations were going on. You know the story. At that point of time, Kaikeyi puts up this proposal to Dasharatha that Rama should go to the forest for 14 years, and then the kingdom will be taken care of by Bharata. Now, Rama was summoned. There is a very beautiful incident in that particular place at that point of time. Rama was now got the information, and he was going towards Dasharatha's cabin, Dasharatha's palace. And on the way, when he was going, there were all these, uh, various things that are there, supposed to be the puja samagri for the next day coronation. All those things are kept. So shining, golden, silver, and all kinds of things were there. And Rama, while passing through that place, and then he looks at them with a smile, because these are the things which are actually they will be decorated on him. And then he goes to Kaikeyi, and then Dasharatha is not there, so he goes to Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi very interestingly tells Rama, Rama, your dad is sick, therefore he is lying down. But then there is some very serious matter he wanted to tell you. It is so serious that why don't you sit down, have a glass of water, relax, because you might be shocked. Rama very casually says, what is that, mother? And then she says that you are going to go to the forest for 14 years because that's what is the discussion between me and dad. And dad wants to convey to you that you go to the forest for 14 years. You know what is Rama's reaction? He says that, yes, I'm going to the forest for 14 years, but you said there is something very serious. Wow, look at this man. That tomorrow he is going to be coronated as a prince, but then today he got a message that he has to go to the forest for 14 years. Both of them are equal to him. Why? His reaction was same. And that later on he explained. Later on he explains to Lakshmana. He says, Lakshmana, yesterday your father told that I should be coronated, and you are happy. Today he said, I have to go to the forest for 14 long years. You are unhappy? See, it is the dad who said in the first place what is happening, the that coronation, and it is the dad who said the other thing. In fact, it is the dad's right to tell us anything that it is. He who can do it, and he is the person who can guide us, and we are here to follow that order. So that kind of a response was there from him. Balanced response. We always say that with the sukha, dukkha, we have to take equal. That's what is dharma. And Rama has shown that equanimity in sukha and dukkha at the highest degree in that particular place. And after that, when he came out, he sees all those decorations that were there supposed to be used for the coronation. Now he knows that these are supposed to be for his brother, that is what is Bharata. So now he is an ordinary citizen and Bharata is going to be the prince. So immediately prostrated in front of him, in front of those things, and offered his prayers to that. Wow. At once that he changed, and not only that, he has that kind of a vision. And when he goes to Sita also, while telling Sita, assuming that Sita is going to be in the palace, he says to Sita so beautifully, he said that till today that you were thinking Bharata to be your husband's brother, younger brother, and you were dealing with him as a mother talks to the son. Yes, that was the way she was behaving. From tomorrow onwards, you should be careful because he is prince. So you talk to him not like your husband's brother, but you talk to him as your prince. What a kind of information, what a kind of instruction that he gives. But Sita, on the other hand, says that, when I came to this house, I came here to serve you. So wherever you will be, I will be serving you. He says, no, this is going to be forest where there'll be so many thorns and this and that. Sita says, I will walk before you walk so that I will put down all the thorns away from your life way, and then you make your life comfortable. What an extraordinary, wonderful pair that they are. After that, when they go to Guha, Guha says, Guha comes running. It's an extraordinary, wonderful relationship between Guha and Rama. Guha comes to know that Dasharatha's son is there. So he came running, preparing all kinds of food preparations and everything. Rama says, now I cannot take this food because one thing is that I'm I'm a prince, therefore I'm a king, therefore I give the food. But now because my mother said that I have to be in the forest, I will take the kandamula, but not this kind of food, that variety of food that you prepared. And then he prepares a bed for Rama under the tree, and then Rama, Sita, they were sleeping. And then Lakshmana is waiting by their side, you know. And then Guha says, why don't you sleep? No, my duty is to see that they are comfortable. That is my duty. Oh, Guha says, this is such an extraordinary, wonderful people. And it's my blessing that in my lifetime I came across that. After that, Guha takes Rama ahead and then takes him to Chitrakoot. And then Rama says, at that point of time when Guha was taking Rama, before that, he tells Sumanta, why don't you go back to Ayodhya? Because everybody will be eagerly waiting to get the message from me. And not only that, mother will be anxious whether I will go back with you back to palace. No, by going there, mother will be assured. That is, Mother Kausalya, Kaikeyi will be assured. See, that means even at that point of time, he cares for Kaikeyi's point of view, Kaikeyi's mind. And then basically that this person goes back, that is Sumanta goes back and then reports to the palace about Rama, left Rama there and all that. So a lot of things happen. And there's another very interesting thing that happened was that Dasharatha went to Kausalya's place to stay because he could not stay with Kaikeyi. And then Kausalya taunts him, what kind of a husband you are. And then because that Kaikeyi is beautiful, Kaikeyi is somebody who is smart, and therefore basically that you agreed with that and then sent your son to the forest, what kind of harsh heart that you have. At that time, Dasharatha pleads to Kaikeyi saying that I came here that I will get some words of consolation from you. I'm not saying that what I did was right or wrong. I'm not going to judge here. But the thing is that I would like to listen to some consolation words. You also talk to me harsh. Wow. That was the moment when Kausalya, she just becomes, pours her tears and says that, please pardon me. As a wife, I should not have talked to you like that, harsh that way. So this is what is the conversation, how subtly that Ramayana handles all these things. When Guha was there and Rama is settled in Chitrakuta, then Bharata comes with the whole. Bharata wanted to go there, but then he wanted to take his mothers, he wanted to take Dasharatha, Vasishtha, and also the whole army, people, everybody wanted to go. So therefore, such a beautiful arrangement was made for all these people to go. Guha looks at the whole army and Bharata coming. He had a wrong notion saying that Bharata is coming now. He did not want to leave Rama alone. He wanted to eliminate Rama so that he wanted to make his kingdom as Kantaka free, that means to say thorn free. So he prepares all his army waiting. But finally he said that before actually we charge, let me go to Bharata and ask him. And when he heard about Bharata, he had tears in his eyes saying that you came all the way with the people to take Rama. He said, yes, even these people, I know very well, Rama is such a adherence to Dharma that he does not want to come. But in spite of it, let me make my effort on that. And then he asked Guha that where Rama slept that night. And then he showed the place. And that place, Bharata, he said, this is the place for me, a Punya Kshetra, a pilgrim center where my Lord slept here. So let me not sleep here in front of it. I will put the flowers and then do meditation for the whole night. Whole night he was meditating in front of that place where Rama was sleeping. From there they went to Rama's place, and then from a distance, Lakshmana sees that and he says, Rama, I think that they do not want to leave us alone here. So Bharata is coming, or Dasharatha, maybe the people that they are coming with an army, and we should be prepared for war. Rama says to Lakshmana, Lakshmana, you always think of war. Just let them come. Let's find out what they are. Let us discuss about it. Don't be in a hurry. See, the dialogue shows that Rama also is not convinced totally about the heart of Bharata, in spite of the fact that everything is like that. But then they came, and after that, it was such a beautiful scene. Lakshmana bows down to Bharata and says, my dear brother, I had a wrong notion. I thought that you are coming here with an army to fight us. But then now you came actually to request Rama to come back. I misunderstood you. Please pardon me. I fall at your feet. And then I was in such a haste. Immediately Bharata says, oh Lakshmana, you should have done that. I would have liked to be losing my life in your hands rather than living on this earth. At that point of time, Rama says, when Lakshmana says to Rama that I will kill Bharata and then we will have the kingdom, Rama gives one dialogue. That's a very beautiful dialogue. He says that, you know, Lakshmana, what do you think of me? We four, all the brothers are together. The kingdom belongs to us and the father. Belongs to father, it belongs to all of us. I don't want to enjoy any riches, any kingdom by killing any of my brothers. I'd rather be in the forest rather than going back to Ayodhya, killing my brother. Please don't use that kind of language. And not only that, when Bharata says that this mother and evil designs and all that, because of that, this happened. At that point of time, Rama he, he immediately stops Bharata and says, Bharata, ever since you came, I've been hearing that this evil woman or bad woman, you are talking to your mother. Is that what you have learned about your respect for your parents? Whatever may be the mother, whatever she asks, is it not our duty to do it? Is it not that Vasishtha taught us in his ashram when we were in the Gurukul? So never speak like that, because whatever that they do, it has lot of bearing in our life. Maybe this is something which is very good for that. For that, actually, Atri later on he says that this whole thing is a design of the divine will. That Rama has a big mission, and that mission has to be accomplished going into the forest. Therefore, this whole thing is happening. What a short sight that Lakshmana had, what a short sight that Bharata had, or what a short sight we all have it. Whereas Rama and Atri and Vasishta, they have a different view. That's why we have to believe in the God's plans. What happens to us is God's plans. We do not have to unnecessarily convert everything into anger, hatred kind of thing. This is what is Rama's character. Not only he held his dharma, but he held others' dharma. Like, for example, father's dharma is to listen to him. The promise that he has given, he has to uphold it. Now he says to Bharata, we have now the responsibility of upholding father's dharma. You see that father's dharma is maintained. Therefore, let me go to the forest and you have the kingdom. You have the kingdom because that's father's wish. And whatever father has given a word, and that has to be fulfilled. Bharata is very cunning. He says that, okay, Rama, I've taken the kingdom, but it is my kingdom. So I give that kingdom to you. Please come here. Rama says, look, when dharma comes, you cannot find any excuses. You have to follow dharma. Let's follow that. It is for the good. So therefore, that is why, in Ramayana, in Raghuvamsha or in the Surya Vamsha, there was a king called Harishchandra, and he followed Satya. He gave word and he followed that. Therefore, he got the suffix as Satya Harishchandra. Whereas Rama not only upheld his truth, but he upheld his father's words. Therefore, Valmiki uses the adjective for Rama, Pitru Satyam Anupalayam. He is somebody who upholds the Pitru Satya, the father's words also. Anywhere, anytime, Rama, you see that he is not only holding his dharma, but his others' dharma. That's why he's called as Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. That means his whole personality is supposed to be dharma. And in order to establish that dharma, he came to this particular world to establish that dharma. Look at the way that what all that he has done, so extraordinary thing in the way that later on when he went ahead, then later on we know the story that Sita was taken away. At that time, he was in, this portion is so beautiful that we'll come to that again later. But then later on where he met Sugriva, and Sugriva said about this, and then what all happened with Vali. And he says, okay, you came to me as for shelter and for support. I will definitely do that for you. I will eliminate Vali and then give the kingdom to you. And more important thing is your wife. See, look at the way that Sugriva's wife is taken away by Vali. And Sugriva's wife, Ruma, was taken away by Vali. And then Rama kills Vali and brings Sugriva's wife, Ruma, back to Vali. That was the most important thing. So on one side that he has done that work, and then Sugriva said, let us wait for this season to go move. And after that, I will help for Sita. And then when Sugriva was forgetting about his dharma, because he was happy and he almost like forgot about Rama's mission that was there, he actually his bow, he makes a noise of that bow, and that's something which spreads all over the Kishkinda and everything. And then suddenly he Chitrakuta Parvata, then immediately Sugriva knew what happened, and Hanuman, he gave him the idea that we have to go there. After going there, then basically, you know the story that he crosses the ocean. Actually, before going to that place, not only that, before going even to the Chitrakuta, before that they met from Chitrakuta when they met before going to Dandakaranya, they met uh, Agastya Muni. And Agastya is the one who said to Rama, Sita, now your days of hardship is going to start, and then be prepared for that. And he said that you go to the Dandakaranya. Before going that, he said, now hurriedly you have to go because that there is no time much left. It means Agastya knows what is the mission that is there. And then he sends Rama and Sita, and then Sita was abducted, taken away. And after that, what happened was that Hanuman goes there, and Hanuman, the very touching story. Hanuman went there as a small little monkey, sitting on the top of the tree, and then he says to Sita that I'm sent by Rama and shows all these things. And then she says that Rama will come to take you back. I will not take you. That means again that the honor of taking you back should belong to Rama. This is how the whole thing has been done. And after that also, that when Ravan dies, Rama gives back that kingdom to his Sugriva, Rama's brother, that is Vibhishana, and then says that, yes, this is the kingdom that. So, is one king, you see that wherever he won the war, it is for the sake of dharma. And he did not annex that country, he did not take away that country. Unfortunately, today, the kings, they fight war, the leaders, they fight war to annex the place. That was so unfortunate. It's a part of this culture that we never annexed any other country in the past 10,000 years. We never conquered any country to take over. And that trend was set by Rama, the wonderful way that Rama's dharma. So at every step, Rama follows dharma. Now let me tell you what is the most important aspect of all these things is the entry of Hanuman. Hanuman was there in Rama's life only for 1 year, last 1 year after Sita's abduction and bringing in Sita, and then afterwards that of course he stayed. But that character became so important, very important, because an extraordinary, wonderful thing that what Hanuman has done. And that you hear from Rama's own admission. After the war is over, Rama came back and settled down in Ayodhya. And coming back to Ayodhya, it was such an extraordinary, wonderful jubilation. But before that, when Rama was coming back by the Pushpaka Vimana, on the way, Bharadwaja stops him and says, Rama, why don't you take Atithya at our place before you go to Ayodhya? Rama says, I promised Bharata that I'll come after 14 years, and absolutely Bharata will be waiting, and he cannot wait for one more day extra. Bharadwaja says that I calculated, I know very well that you are there for one more day, you can stay here. So Rama halts at Bharadwaja's place one night, and next day, then he goes there. There is jubilation function that was going on. And then everybody was decorated by Rama extraordinarily. Everybody is eagerly waiting. What will be the story of Hanuman? Then Hanuman's name was announced. There was such a great applause because everybody is waiting for that. Rama could not understand Hanuman's name was announced because what is that Hanuman done to me? Then he started recollecting. When I was in the forest, I didn't have anybody, anything, any support. That was the time Hanuman came in my life. Not only gave me support, but a king like Sugriva. But more important thing is he found out Sita and came back. And Sita was very apprehensive whether I will be able to take this challenge. And then Hanuman shows, look at the way that I can burn the whole Lanka and then I can take you back. What a assistance that is given to me and my wife. Not only that, Lakshmana, he brought the medicine from Himalayas and made him to see that he went back. Every step he helped me so much. What can I give him? Says that only way that I can give, everybody is eagerly waiting, Rama will do. Rama will comes down from the throne and then gives him a bare hug. He says, Hanuman, you belong to me. This is what happens in the case of bhakti. Dasa and God will become one. That's an extraordinary connection that they have given. Krishna's story is something which is extraordinary. Krishna, right from the beginning, established that he was the leader. But then at the same time, we should see that an extraordinary, wonderful strategist that Krishna was. This is something that we need to understand. Moment we take Krishna as God, yes, he showed himself as God, glimpses of that, when particularly he has given Draupadi the saris, and he made all kinds of things that are wonderful that was there. But there are so many things that he has done, not like a god, but an ordinary, simple human being. After his training at Sandipani Ashram, the next he was that the rishis asked him, what is your mission? He said, to establish dharma. We have to establish dharma. And for that mission that he has already started, like as a child that he created Shishupala, he eliminated Shishupala, eliminated Kamsa, Dantavaktra, and Shatakasura. So like that, several things that he has done, eliminating the evil, but they were a small little simple things. But the major thing was there in front of him to re-establish dharma. It's not just only eliminating adharma characters, but to see that we re-establish dharma as a land, as a law of the land that he wanted to establish that. And who are capable of doing that? He says Pandavas. Pandavas did not die. All these people know about it. Only thing is we need to bring Pandavas out. And from the incognito, they were hiding somewhere and we need to bring them out. And how to bring them out? And that's what is Krishna's plan, to create this Matsyayantra. That Matsyayantra, I don't have much time to talk about it, but then let me give a simple idea. The whole Matsyayantra is not an ordinary, arbitrary kind of Matsya, but it is the whole picture of the universe and the solar system and then earth going around that, and then on the earth various objects are moving, and this whole picture is given which actually depicts the time kind of a model, and that only Arjuna knows the calculations involved in that. And actually our whole Panchanga is based on that kind of calculations of that Matsyantra that was there, or Matsyantra was based on this time calculations, and therefore unless until somebody knows how to break it, he cannot do it. So therefore, actually, he knows very well, if Matsyantra is there, Arjuna will be attracted and Arjuna will come and then do that. But then when Arjuna comes, he will be in an incognito, that means to say he will not be shown. But we have to make an announcement in the public. And who can do that? Krishna is not a king, he cannot do that. But then he takes the support of Balarama. He says, Balarama, you must come. But Balarama says, why do I come to Draupadi Swayamvara? He says, your friend is coming, your disciple, student is coming. Who? And then he says that the Duryodhana is coming, therefore you should come. So he likes Duryodhana, therefore he comes. After coming there, then Krishna, Duryodhana comes, then Balarama is happy, Duryodhana is there. Krishna says, no, wait, I'm waiting for somebody else. Balarama says, you came here with me to see Duryodhana, but then you are waiting for somebody else. Then he looks around. He sees in Brahmanas there are 5 people sitting there and says, yes, now I found out. I need your help. And he says, what is the help that you need from me? I says, Kunti's children are here. Arjuna is here. So, no, they are dead. No, I know that they are alive. They are here. I need your support. I announce that it is Arjuna, and then you should also support me. Okay, okay, whatever you say, I will support it. Then every other prince is over. Then Arjuna comes up. Krishna actually watches when all these 5 people are there, out of which one person is calculating on the fingers. And then by looking at the way that he is calculating, he understood that he is calculating about the time. So exactly at that particular time that Arjuna takes the bow and fixes the arrow and then shoots directly at the eye of the fish that was there. Immediately Krishna announces that he is Arjuna. And then others, Pandavas, they are shown. Immediately that whole, because basically that kings were angry because the Brahmana doing this kind of thing in front of the king's Swayamvara. So this is how Krishna used the strategy to bring Pandavas to the forefront. And then after that, so many things that happened in the Varana Vrata, etc., etc. Without Krishna, nothing could have happened in the whole of Mahabharata. That was the way that he guided them. After all those things, another very important aspect Krishna did was in the warfare. In fact, before they finished the Ajnatavasa, Aranyavasa, everything, and then they came back home, they were sitting, and Krishna then comes to Pandavas and asks, what are you doing? Pandava says, we are waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting for Kauravas to give us the kingdom. Ah, great people you are. I mean, Kauravas are waiting for you to come, and then in the plate that they give the kingdom for you and then give it to you. Forget about it. And Krishna says like that, then immediately Bhima says, if they don't give, we'll fight. Hey, don't talk of fight. But then what do we do? Then Krishna says, have you asked? He asked Yudhishthira, did you go and ask them to give the kingdom? No. Then we did not even ask. Then how do you expect that they give you the kingdom? Then immediately Yudhishthira says, okay, I will go and ask. That's where Krishna says that, please, you don't go because you are the king. You send only a emissary. You send only a person who takes the message. A messenger, you send it. So therefore, and they also sent a message. That's so therefore you send the message. Okay, then who is the messenger? Krishna says, I will be the messenger. I will take the message for them. Because anyway, I don't have any kingdom or anybody, nobody. So therefore, I can go there. Look at the way Krishna's readiness. Then immediately Draupadi says, Krishna, if you go, war will not take place. Because that you will make them to agree for everything. Krishna laughs and he gives 2 dialogues to Draupadi. Beautiful. One dialogue he says that, my dear Draupadi, if war can stop, millions of people's death can be avoided. We should welcome that. Don't bring your hair in between that. It's your personal thing. Don't bring in that if it can save so many people. So don't talk an arrogant way. You see how beautifully that Krishna conveys. And then he says to Draupadi, but you know what? For you, Krishna is great, but not for them. So if I say you people accept it, but not the Kauravas, particularly Duryodhana, and war will take place. Be prepared for the war. At that time, Krishna gives one dialogue saying that if we do not go for war, if war happens, we are facing it. We do not create war. If war happens, we face it. That's the most important thing that we need to learn in life. We never have to go for war. We try to negotiate. Krishna goes there to negotiate. You know what all the things happened, that he says that, look, all these things failed, you give their kingdom and all that. Sama, first thing is that he nicely asked them. Then Dana, he says, okay, all right, give only 5 these villages. He mentions the names of 5 villages. Give it to Pandavas. They will make it. Earlier we are given Varana, Khandavana. They made it. Now also they can make it. Give that. Let's not have war because we are all from the same family. But then they resisted on that. Then Dana is failed. Then Bheda. He shows that, you know what? They're so powerful. They're so great. And you cannot stand in front of them. Their courage, their strength. So Bheda and Danda. Finally, what happens is that ultimately, that if you don't give that, you are inviting them for war. So if you invite them for war, you will be the loser. And therefore, he uses that strategy. And then finally, that the war has started. In the war, actually, what happened was that before the war started, you know that Bhishma sat there, and then there is war agreement. That means to say, what are the rules of the war that we follow? In fact, this is an extraordinary, wonderful thing in the Indian culture, right from the beginning, that we always framed rules for the war. The simple idea is that war will be fought in such a way that maximum number of population, the culture, and everything cannot be destroyed by the war. Therefore, they select a place where nobody is there. That's what is Kurukshetra. And the time basically where there's no harvesting and everything is clear. At that time, war has to take place. They fight war only during the sun, before between sunrise and sunset, and will not be, and nothing can be done after the sunset. Everything comes to a halt, and the night everybody behaves as if that they are normal. That is the kind of thing. They go to their own places and then the rest. This is what is the way war rules are there. And then also an Atirathi will fight with Atirathi, Maharathi will fight with Maharathi. So like that there were so many rules were made. According to the rules, everything was going on. Suddenly, when Abhimanyu situation came, they broke those rules because Abhimanyu was alone in the battlefield and all these 5 Maharathis together, that they have pounced on Abhimanyu without any weapons in his hands. And he was seeking a protection by a wheel from the chariot. And with all those things that they charged on him. Absolute disregard for the war rules. Absolute disregard. And at that time, Krishna, now he has to plan. And that's a beautiful way that he plans in that way. And the next day war was over, and then everybody went back to their tents, and then Bhishma was invincible. They could not conquer Bhishma because he was so powerful. And then that night, Bhishma's tent, Arjuna and Yudhishthira, they both went to Bhishma's tent. And when they went there, Bhishma was surprised. They said, whole day that we were in the war field, and what made you to come to the tent in the night? Very lovingly he talked to Arjuna. Arjuna and Yudhishthira replied to Bhishma saying that we have come here to return whatever that you have given us. He said, what is that you have given? What is that you want to return? It is, you have given us a blessing, that victory in the war, Vijayi Bhava. And we have come here to return that blessing on us. Bhishma says, why? Why are you returning that? In fact, blessings are given to actualize those things. Then Arjuna replies that, Pitama, between the blessing that you are given and its actualization, you are standing. And we cannot win you, therefore we give back that blessing to you. Oh, is that the story? Bhishma took a minute and then he says, I don't think you got this idea. That fellow Krishna must have sent you. Immediately they also blush and say, yes, it is Krishna who sent us to you. He takes a couple of paces up and down, and then he just closes his eyes and says, Krishna, what a wonderful relief you have given me today. And then he says to these people, didn't understand what is that Bhishma is telling Swagatas for himself. Then he says, to Yudhishthira and Arjuna, why Shikhandi is there on your side? They said, what is that? We said we want to return the blessings and you say Shikhandi. What do you mean by that? We don't understand. You didn't understand? No. Go and ask Krishna. He understands it. Then they go back to Krishna. Krishna is waiting there eagerly. And then these people came confused. And then they said, what happened? Why are you confused? Why your head down? I said that, I don't know. We told Bhishma. What did you say? Did you say what exactly I said? Yes, exactly. We said that we have still returned the blessings. What did Bhishma say? Bhishma asked the question that is Krishna sent you. He said, yes, Krishna sent us with this words. Then what happened? I said, why Shikhandi is there on your side? And I don't understand. What is the what is the connection between these two? Krishna immediately exclaimed, wow, he said that? That means now I understood it. He said, what is this? Bhishma said something and you understood, we don't understand. Then Krishna asked, come on, let us sit down, discuss about it. There's a very major permission Bhishma has given. What is that? Bhishma cannot fight with somebody who is a woman or qualities of women that are there in a man. And Shikhandi is half man, half woman. Therefore, Bhishma has given us the permission to use Shikhandi. Shikhandi will stand on your chariot in front of you, and then Bhishma will not take the arms, and then you can shoot your arrow. And Shikhandi also along with that shoots here. Therefore, he can be killed. And Shikhandi is born to kill Bhishma. He is actually the Amba, born as Shikhandi. Therefore, Bhishma has asked us to use Shikhandi to eliminate him. But more important thing is, Bhishma has given us permission to see that now onwards, we can cross the boundaries of war agreement. You can cross that. That's what is the permission that he has given. Because basically that on one side people cross, on the other side people do not cross. Then that war will be imbalanced. Kauravas have crossed, exceeded themselves so much. Now it is time for you. Look at afterwards that whatever the move that was there, Krishna's extraordinary, wonderful strategy that was there. Another strategy that Krishna used was the strategy about Karna. Karna, after the war, he was there next day supposed to be going for war. And then Krishna meets him in the middle of the forest. He goes to Karna and says, Karna, I need to share with you some information that I have. He said, what is that information that you have? I know about your birth. What is the birth? About your parents. Who my parents? I know my parents. Radhe is my parents. They are my parents. He said, no, they are not your parents. They fetched you in the Ganga. Yeah, they fetched me all right, but then they looked after. I don't know who I was born to. I do not even want to know about it. Don't you want to know about it? No, not at all interested. And even if I know it, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Therefore, I don't want to know about it. But I still want to tell you who's your parent because I know it. Now his curiosity ignited. He said, who is that? Kunti is your mother. My God, that shattered him. Because the simple thing is that Pandavas are the Kunti's children, and now he is Kunti's. What happened? How am I Kunti's son? And then Krishna explains, you are the first son of Kunti, but then you are born to the virgin, therefore that she had to abandon you, and therefore that you are left in the water. And then all that story says, immediately Karna says, who all know about it besides you? Krishna says, I know it, and then Kunti knows about it. Only we two people know about it. Now I told you, you also know about it. Why did you not tell Pandavas? He said, because it's not about them. It's not about them, therefore I did not tell them. They're so close to you. Yeah, close does not mean that I should tell them. I did not tell them. But then if you knew all the time, then why did you not tell me earlier? I did not tell you earlier because the time was not there. But now the time has come. Then Karna says, what is this time now? He says, now the time is, I want to tell Pandavas. But then why did you not tell them? Because it's about your case, therefore I need to take your permission before I tell Pandavas. Look at Krishna, he's so nutcut. He can do all kinds of things. But look at the way that he's behaving so much like a thorough gentleman. I need to take your permission to tell Pandavas. Why do you want to tell the Pandavas now? Karna asks. Krishna says, if I tell Pandavas, the war will stop. Yudhishthira will give the kingdom to you because you are the eldest. He will stop the war, give the kingdom to you. Karna says to Krishna, Krishna, please don't tell Pandavas. Let it go, let it die, let me die without them knowing about it. Krishna says, why? The same reason what you said. And then Karna says, people suffered enough of adharma. Now dharma has to set in. This is a moment dharma has to set in. And if you tell them, again, Duryodhana will be the ruler, and I can see what kinds of things will happen. Krishna says, Karna, you're an extraordinary person. I know very well. I knew that your answer will be that. I have always great respect for you. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll see in the battlefield. Wow. What a beautiful way Krishna resolved that. And next day in the battlefield, Krishna is there and Arjuna is there in the chariot, and then Karna is in the opposite. Shalya was the charioteer. And Krishna says to Arjuna, fighting is going on, ferocious fighting, and Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna, hit at the bottom of the chariot, the wheel, so that let the wheel sink down. No, that's adharma. Let's shortcut the whole issue. And then he hits on the chariot wheel, and then wheel comes down. And then immediately Karna says to Shalya, Karna was surprised. He says, Arjuna, what is this? But Shalya, get down and hold the chariot. Let me continue to fight. Immediately Krishna says to Shalya, Shalya, you are the king. And he is Sutaputra. Let him get down the chariot. Wow. Yesterday only you told me that I am a Kunti Putra. And today you came and said I am a Sutaputra. But anyway, Karna goes down and then holds the chariot. And as if Karna can listen to it, Krishna says loud to Arjuna, Arjuna, this is the right time. Hit Karna. Shoot the arrow at Karna. Huh? And then Karna, yesterday he came and gave such a great compliment to me. And today he did that way. And Krishna, when he said like that, Arjuna was also surprised. But then he shot at Karna, and Karna is now dying. When Karna is dying, Krishna says to Arjuna, Karna is an extraordinary, wonderful, great king. So why don't you go down? Why don't we go down and pay respect to Karna? And then both of them go down the chariot, and Arjuna pays his respect to Karna, made him to pay respect to Karna. And then he says to Karna, I heard you are a Dana Shura Karna, great person you are. All that is over, Krishna. Now it's the last moment. I just have only a few breaths that is left. No, I saw your Shuratva, but I want to say your Dana Guna, what you can give. You know what, Krishna, you want to tease me? No, sincerely I'm asking. I want to ask you something. You could have come to my kingdom and asked something. I could have given anything. And this moment, I don't have anything to give you. Other than 2 breaths, I don't have anything. Krishna said, but even if you want to ask me, ask me. Arjuna was surprised. What is this Krishna doing? And then now Krishna says to Karna, said, give me. You have done so much of dana throughout your life and then accrued so much of punya. Give me that punya to me. Arjuna felt there cannot be more demonic than this, and Krishna is asking that. But Karna understood that. Immediately, Karna, with a smile, said, Krishna, if you had asked me, it must be something extraordinary. So I'm ready to give you. But then, before I leave my breath, tell me why you asked me, so that after listening to your words, let me live my life. And then Krishna says to Karna, goes to him and pets him in his back, and he says that Karna, an extraordinary person. Your life itself is an extraordinary tapas. And therefore, I don't want you to do some punya and then exit that, go to some heaven and then exhaust that punya and come back to the earth. I want you to give me all that punya so that you can go to moksha, total freedom. Krishna, anywhere he has really acted as a real God, that was this moment when he has given moksha to Karna. Nobody else, not even Pandavas, not even Draupadi has given moksha, but Karna is given the moksha. That was an extraordinary, wonderful thing. Another strategy that he used was with Duryodhana. Everywhere you can see that. Duryodhana, mother sent him to go and take bath in the river and come back naked, complete naked, stark naked, so that she has been tying her eyes for such a long time. That was like a tapas that she was doing. Eyes have so much of power, and use that power to make Duryodhana as a still person. When you look at him with that eyes, that power can make his body still. And Krishna knew about that, rushed to the place, and then meets with Duryodhana midway and said, what is this? You are the king, and then tomorrow one more day of fight is there. And if before that, you already lost your clothes also, not only the kingdom, but whatever that you have done to Draupadi, that happened to you now. Only thing is, you think that nobody is watching. Immediately, he just covered himself and said that, mother wanted me to. Hey, which son, grown up son, will go to the mother like that? Even if mother asks, at least you should have a lion, if you have waistcloth. So he put round the waistcloth and sent Duryodhana to mother. And mother opened her eyes, looks at him. But for the middle portion, that the rest of the portion became steel like. She lamented. What happened? And Duryodhana knows that it is Krishna's trick. Absolute great trickster. And next day, he used that trick that Duryodhana will hit on the thighs. And that is what is the thing said. He said at that point of time, Duryodhana, you have one kind of protection, but then we have one kind of warfare. Therefore, that is all okay. This way, at every step, he established to see that dharma can be established. He has given us three extraordinary, wonderful things. One thing is that Pandavas as their rulers, and they were adhere to dharma. Second thing is given as Bhagavad Gita, which has the message of whole of Upanishads put into the form of an essence of the Vedas, Upanishads together. That's why iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam, all that he has given us. And third, he has given us the beautiful Vishnu Sahasranama. All these three things happened at the time of Krishna. That is the way that basically whatever that Rama has established dharma, that is what Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravardhate, establishing dharma by killing all the Rakshasas and establishing dharma in this. And that carried for several thousands of years. Afterwards, Krishna has given us all these three things for the sake of re-establishing dharma. I wish that every house we have a Bhagavad Gita, every house we have Vishnu Sahasranama, and every house we have the story of Ramayana and Krishna going on, so that our culture will be remaining like that, intact, continuing like that. Several things that are there in this culture, in Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana, we could see that we could bring about this kind of thing. One such thing which am very fond of sharing my idea with people is that until we have in our culture, we never had the idea called as right. We only had responsibilities. Right, we don't have a Sanskrit word. We have borrowed the word of right from the Persian, Arabic, and that's what is haq. Look at every language. We use haq as right. Why? Because we don't have Sanskrit word. See, these condemns, these ideas, they were there. When people move towards responsibility, that's what is establishing dharma. Child has a responsibility, parents have responsibility, children have responsibility, teacher has responsibility, students have responsibility. If the students look at their responsibility, then all this destruction of the buses, this and that would not go on. Teacher take the responsibility, then the teacher is not anymore a teacher, he is a guru. Teaching is not as important, but giving a direction to the student is important. The citizens have responsibility, and all these things are nothing but responsibility. Bring the people together, rights divide us. So therefore, this is one word I said. Like that, we have several words that are there belong to this culture. Ramayana, Mahabharata, they are rich with this kind of treasure that we have. And because of this treasure, this culture survived for 10,000 years. Where other cultures at that time they were there, we don't even hear those cultures about those here culture, about those cultures. Like Incas, Wiccan culture was there at one point in time, Babylonian culture was there, and then Mesopotamian culture was there, Inchara culture was there. These are all various cultures that were there, but they don't exist anymore. But our culture, Sanatan Dharma, existed because of this Ramayana and Mahabharata and the characters who are involved in that. I'm so glad that all of us, we spent our time remembering about the Katha stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata. Please, every house, let us have Amar Chitra Katha books so that the children will start reading that. Adults will try to clarify them. Our whole life hovers around Ramayana and Mahabharata. Once again, on this wonderful Dashara Vijayadashmi festival time, a beautiful way of satsang every evening. It's a great time that we had. Thank you so much for giving me a patience listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghuramji. If anyone has any doubts or anything, I think one question which I had told you in the beginning by someone named Karthik from
Yeah.
IIT, he had told
Yes.
about is fearlessness also a virtue of Dharma?
Yes. Yes. Fear is when you identify ourselves with the only physical body and my riches, my material world outside, and I might lose that, I might lose my. This is what is the fear. It is not the question of that we try to insure ourselves for the fear, but the real idea is freedom from the fear. That's what is here important. So fearlessness, in the way that Indian philosophy looks at, is that it is freedom from the fear. Now, what happens is the moment that there is fear, the fear is the one which drives us to move away from dharma, and we give all kinds of excuses for saying that, yeah, I was in such a situation, therefore I had to do that. We take an excuse. But if you are fearless, then you face the situation that is there once. You have armed yourself, you have armored yourself with dharma. Look at yourself, what you are following is dharma, then you don't have to have a fear. That's what Rabindranath Tagore also says in his poem, saying that, oh God, take me to that land where I have on one hand dharma, on the other hand I have freedom from fear. That's what is the message that we need to take it for that.
Is anyone having any doubts? Oh, yeah, Mr. Karthik has already, he's already there in the session today.
Oh, okay.
Anyone has
Oh,
any,
Karthik, thank you, sir, for taking my question. Yeah.
anyone has anything to ask Raghuramji? He keeps conducting satsang. We will be keeping on announcing. So if anyone has, why Lord Krishna received the curse? Sorry, I didn't understand that question.
Yeah.
Raghuramji, you can check that question. Yes.
Right. Oh, wanted to know the reason behind Lord Rama not accepting Sita. I don't know how much time we have left with. Then it was a wonderful session. Lord Krishna, being his Deprived curse and it fulfilled. Received curse and it fulfilled. And actually, that's a small little answer that I can give. Udanka Maharshi, he cursed Krishna, saying that I curse you because of you this whole war has taken place. Therefore, I curse you that you will die by your own clan. Krishna laughs, and Udanka Maharshi said, "I have cursed you, so you should not laugh. You should be serious." Krishna said, "I'm not laughing because of the curse. I'm laughing at your ignorance." I said, "What do you mean by that?" Then Krishna explains saying that, look, I lived enough of life. I did all kinds of things and Dharma is established. Now it's time for me to go. And there can be any reason I can go. It can be some infection, something like that. Today it is coronavirus. Anything can be there. An accident can be there. And we don't even know. Somebody who dies, what doesn't matter that what he takes him. And at least I know that my own people will hit me. So that's a very small little reason. Thank you for that information. But for that small little simple thing, you wasted all your life tapas and curse me. Is it not a trivial thing? You curse because that you are angry. Unnecessarily you have developed that krodha. Don't give up that. That is the most important thing that you need to do. That is how Udanka Maharshi realized his mistake that he has done. Well, actually, Rama did not abandon Sita. The story, one of the story places are Valmiki Ramayana, that Sita has been impersonated by another divine. You see, Agni Deva created that Sita, and then she came she is the one who went to the Ashokavana. And when she came back, it is that Agni Deva actually exchanged, and then Sita sent back to Rama. Because Sita is somebody so pure, cannot be touched by Ravana's touch. What happens with that is that if that happens, the whole kingdom of Ravana will be completely destroyed. That was the blessing that she had when she was born as Sita. So therefore, it is for the sake of saving Ravan's kingdom. Of course, Ravan we have to eliminate, but the kingdom we have to save. For that reason, that was done. But later on, actually during the Ajnatavasa, Sita said that she wanted to have an experience of aloneness, where even she is not looking for Rama. Ashokavana, she was looking for Rama. But then the whole Mahol is created in such a way that Sita lived in uh, Lanka for 1 year and then came back. All that people talked about gossip, Rama didn't want to say yes or no to the gossip, basically. But that gossip he used and then sent Sita to Valmiki Ashrama, where Rama is also not expected. She was absolutely all alone by herself. Actually, spiritual sadhana, I don't have a time to talk about it, but spiritual sadhana is a journey from loneliness to aloneness. Loneliness means that we have complained. Aloneness, we are all by ourselves. If you look at yourself, are you not born alone and you go back alone? And after that, you go back after these 70, 80, 100 years. You're all alone. Aloneness is our own nature. And to remind us that aloneness of the nature, that's what is the spiritual sadhana. Brahman is alone. That's why Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman because there is no two. There are no two Brahman that are there. Thank you.
There is wonderful one question. Yudhishthira's dharma is big or Karna's dharma is big?
Yeah. See, Karna always followed dharma. But you need to understand one thing, that there are several levels of dharma that are there following. Karna and Bhishma, and these are extraordinary people. But then Krishna is above all of them. That's why all these people respected Krishna. Dharma, what happens is that Karna's dharma, he followed his brother. His words that were given. He said, Duryodhana, I will always be supporting you. Come what may, whatever may be the situation. So that is what is the word that he has given earlier. So therefore he followed that word. Whatever may happen with Duryodhana, see, in spite of the fact that he was named bad, because he was on the bad side and all his actions were bad and everything was something like that. But in spite of it, he still followed his dharma. That was the extraordinary thing about Karna. Duryodhana, absolutely there was no dharma, not whatsoever that you could think of in the life of Duryodhana, because basically wherever opportunity is there, he would like to cross the limits of dharma. Whatever that was there, established dharma. It is not that he had a special dharma or anything like that. He just violated all that and then followed. First thing is that he has extraordinary thing we have to learn from Duryodhana's life is that he never respected his elders. That was the first and foremost adharma that he followed, and that brought him a downfall for the whole thing. And arrogance, this was something which was very, very important, that you, your arrogance will bring you down. Added to that, you never followed your elders' words, ideas. You have taken advantage of every elder. Like, for example, your father's infatuation for your son and for you, and that you have taken advantage of. Bhishma's pratigna that he will take care of the kingdom, he misused that. Karna's pratigna that he follows uh, Duryodhana, whatever he does, you misused it. So look at the way that he is one person who used everybody's dharma, misused it. He misused it. Therefore, that is something, an extraordinary pinnacle of that whole thing, and was Duryodhana. Yeah, Duryodhana realized his mistake at the time died. Probably, what happens is that when you are surrounded by such people like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna, and Bhishma, Drona, and Kripacharya, and more important of all these people is that the with all these people that around, maybe that there were always signs of dharma that was reaching him. So that means to say he knew what is dharma, but then his arrogance simply driven him in the opposite direction. Therefore, Duryodhana says, Janami dharmam nachame pravrutti, Janami adharmam nachame nivrutti. I know what is adharma, but I could not go away from that. This is the reason why it has brought down to the downfall. It is not Duryodhana's downfall. It is the downfall of this idea that we know dharma, but we don't follow dharma. That's the message that we need to really realize. The moment that we know what is dharma, come what may, or by whatever means that we need to follow what is dharma, not only we follow dharma, we see that the dharma is maintained in the whole world. That's why Manu says, Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. You take care of dharma, dharma will take care of you. Dharma eva hato hantihi, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Nako dharmo hato vadit, tasmad dharmo nahantavyaha. Like that, he says that. I don't want to go to that shloka because it's a long shloka, but that is the idea. The whole avatara of Krishna and Rama are to see that we re-establish dharma in our culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghuramji. So many questions keep arising. I think one session is not enough.
Right.
There's one more question, but I think we are out of time now. So we'll have one more satsang, all of you. We'll have, I'm sure all of you will be filled with lots of questions. That inquisitiveness is very important as a seeker. And Raghuramji is there here. By God's grace, he's there. And we'll keep hearing insights from him. And that's what we at Yoga Bharati have been keeping on listening. And that is how we have also been able to share whatever insights we have been listening to Raghuramji. So let's all sit comfortably. We'll close the session. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Blink open your eyes. Once again, thank you all for being along with us in this 10-day Kathotsava. Today also a wonderful katha by Raghuramji, Ramayana, Mahabharata. What a wonderful combo there, and it's so enjoyable to hear Raghuramji. It's always spellbound, and I love the way Raghuramji speaks. And let's keep hearing and let's keep having satsangs with Raghuramji virtually. So thank you everyone once again, and be connected to Yoga Bharati, be connected to Raghuramji with Facebook, with our YB Connect WhatsApp groups, so that we keep you are all connected with all our announcements and updates. Thank you very much. Good night, Raghuramji. Good night to everyone here. Bye bye. Bye, Raghuramji.